Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Better Basics Podcast. I am Matt Stone, and as always, I have with me my best friend and co-host. It's Dylan Waldhuter. Dylan, usually when it comes time to recording, I say something like, to the effect of, it's good to see you. And it is good to see you, as always, but to peel back the onion layers of the podcast to show the people tell people about how the sausage is made. We're recording this just a couple days after we recorded the last week's episode because I am getting ready to go on vacation.
You're sick of me already.
No, that's not. I mean, it is good to see you. For me, it's just like so when you're listening to this podcast, I will be in sunny Mexico, enjoying the crap out of my vacation. And so we are recording this one a little bit early, just so that we don't have to worry about me having too many margaritas and trying to podcast.
I was gonna offer up maybe doing a solo-sode while you were gone, but I didn't want to double our listenership while it's just me.
Yeah, then, right. What would happen if the most successful episode turns out Dylan just did it shirtless? So.
Oh shit.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's always that option. I'm not opposed to it. I'm certainly not afraid of.
Nah, man, we need each other. We need each other.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's kick it off here with the hot topic this week. All I got on the sheet here, Dylan, it says fitness level matters more than weight for longevity. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is a recent study out of the British Journal of Sports Medicine. I think last November it was published. And the takeaway from it is that being in shape or having good physical fitness has a greater impact on our heart health primarily and just broader longevity than how much we weigh or the number on the scale. So people considered fit, regardless of what their body mass index was, had a similar risk of death as fit people with a normal BMI. So this is kind of interesting, right? Additionally, overweight or obese individuals who were fit had a lower risk of death than unfit people with normal weight.
Yeah.
So effectively what we're seeing here is that what I stated up front, being in good shape, and we'll talk about what that ultimately means, is more important than BMI, which is something that we commonly reference. Now, that doesn't suggest that BMI isn't a factor, but it does suggest that if you are overweight, that maybe pursuing better fitness should be the ambition versus a focus on the scale.
Yeah, this is interesting because we just did a podcast a couple weeks ago all about the reasons why managing your fat levels is important and ways that you can possibly lose fat and keep it off. But this, it's not even so much flying in the face of it. It's just showing something that I think that you and I both already kind of agree on, which is there are so many health indicators beyond just BMI, which is that traditional kind of like when we look at, what a healthy person is. Well, they're not fat. Mm-hmm. And so, this is cool. The one of the things that I like about this study, it was a bunch of people. It was like 400,000 people that were included in the study. And they used VO2 max. So for people that don't know what VO2 max is, essentially it's just your body's ability to use oxygen. So not how much you can breathe, but what you can do with the oxygen that you're bringing in. And that is a really good indicator in health, in cardiovascular health. Obviously the more that you're able to do with that oxygen, the better cardiovascular health you're going to be in. So they were looking at that as their primary indicator of what a healthy person is. It was something like they were looking to see, they considered fit if the VO2 max was higher than 20% of others in their age group. So it was an age-based thing as well.
Yep. Yeah, it's really interesting. So for me, the takeaway in all this is BMI or being obese or being overweight is an indicator that may suggest that you have some symptoms or some outcomes that are unhealthy, that maybe your risk for these diseases is higher because of being overweight. But that is not universally true. And so if you're finding yourself in a situation where you're overweight and you're concerned about the implications of that on your health, you should use that as a data point to look further into your health. We shouldn't be just assigning unhealthy on anybody that is overweight. And then further, there's this cultural implication in all of this, right? Which is more about sort of how we assign value to people that are overweight, which is so misled, right? Like, people shouldn't be in a position where they feel like they're less valuable to society because they're larger than us. And we hear this all the time, and we even talk about how, too many Americans are overweight, too many Americans are obese. And while that's statistically true on the whole, it doesn't mean that at the individual level that everybody that we see is unhealthy or should be discredited because of their overweightness. And I think it's also a good way to steer people who are maybe faced with this to consider what's really ultimately important in all this. And I land in two places. One is just general health. And so this is telling us that to pursue that, it doesn't always have to be about seeing the number drop on the scale, that getting into better physical fitness can dictate that. And then the other side of the coin is the mental health component of it all, because of this cultural pressure to look fit, not necessarily to be fit. That is often what's driving people into these crash diets and these crazy workout plans. And I think it just aligns very well with a lot of what we talk about, which is we should be in the pursuit of health as a whole, and that weight is one factor that may be contributing to you being unhealthy, but not always, and that ultimately we need to use these different data points to dictate what we do and how we manage our mental health, our physical health, etc.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like they reference the person one of the people who put on the study, was talking about why, this is important, why these findings are important. And, they basically just reiterated something that we've said on the show before, but like nearly everybody, it's nearly 100% of weight loss attempts fail after 5 years. It's just a fact. And so obviously the knowledge that we need to lose, that people need to lose fat is not working. That's not working. So it's good, especially because of all those other factors that you mentioned, that we look at more than just the scale and BMI for being healthy. Also, just because you have a great VO2 max, it does not mean that you are a quote unquote, balanced, healthy person either. You have great cardiovascular health, which we know is one of the major indicators of longevity. But that doesn't mean that you should drop everything that you're doing and just become a cardio king or queen, because we also know the benefits of strength training, of having muscle on your body, of having fat on your body, and as important, if not more important than all of that, the nutrition and the mental, like the community aspects of all this too. So it just goes to show, again, health is not this, one segment. It's not just one thing that really can indicate, whether somebody's healthy or not. So just another good study to prove that. Do we have anything else you want to add?
I guess my concluding thought would be, at the end of the day, our messaging and what we're trying to communicate is that we should be in pursuit of better health. And that's an incredibly complex thing to tackle. It involves a lot of different things. Unfortunately, culturally, and with the prevalence of social media and all these influencers, weight is oftentimes like the top of the whether or not you're healthy chart, right? Like we're too often looking at a person as overweight or underweight or fit based on how they look, and using that to determine whether the person's healthy or not. And this is just another indication that picture is much more complex.
Yeah, my favorite health and wellness people on the internet I mean, they're all like, they all look like they're in shape, but they don't. But if they're not bodybuilders, they're not getting on a stage anytime soon. They see the value of enjoying life, and the benefits of that for a balanced and happy one. So
That's just a different type of unhealthy.
oh yeah, well, for sure. I mean, like, especially if we talk about like fucking bodybuilders, like that is wild. And then I guess on like the female side of that spectrum, like supermodels. I mean, you understand, and it's really a good thing that we do have, the body positivity movement. We want people to understand really that those are unattainable. I actually saw a client of mine. She showed me this video yesterday of this just like smoking hot chick. Smoking hot, wearing a bikini in the mirror, and then she had her like daily routine like on the side of it, and it was like 7 a.m. water, 7:30 collagen, skincare routine, Pilates, and nowhere in that entire list did it say work. Nowhere did it say picking up the kids. Nowhere did it say having to run errands. And it actually was refreshing to see that, because it was someone who, like, obviously worked very hard on their body and was, gifted with, with just good genetics to begin with. And at least they were showing in that case how, what all the things they have to do, and how this is just an impossible thing for most regular people to attain. So, it's just one of those things that is the social media just does generally just such a good job of just warping our minds.
You bet.
All right. We have a new segment. We're going to mix this in instead of Worth It every once in a while. This is something that I think is going to be a lot of fun. It's the viral exercise of the week. Oh, I like how you put that there. Worth It, parentheses, viral exercise edition, because it's still worth it. We're still figuring out if this is worth it or not. That is clever branding there, Dylan.
Yeah, we need each other.
Because otherwise I would just be talking myself in circles. This exercise comes from the Instagram account and trainer Every Goddamn Dre. It's a trainer named Andre. He's awesome. Does some really, really cool stuff. This exercise, I guess, like, I didn't even see like a name for it, but what I'm going to just determine it is a Landmine Sissy squat. So if you're familiar with the Landmine, that's the apparatus that you just stick a barbell into, and then you use so one end of the barbell is anchored to the Landmine apparatus, and the other side comes out, and you can do all kinds of great stuff with it. The Landmine is a really cool tool that we haven't talked about much on this podcast. We got to give the Landmine a little bit more love.
It could have been a good Worth It.
Could have been. Yeah, well, we'll save it. We'll save it.
All right. Yeah.
And then the Sissy squat is a quad dominant squat where you come up on your toes and you try to basically like get your knees as close to the ground as you can. This is the version that he's doing is this kind of modified Sissy squat where he's not keeping his hips fully extended the whole time. Go to Every Goddamn Dre on Instagram and you'll see what I'm talking about. Dylan, when you were up this past weekend, we experimented with this Landmine Sissy squat a little bit. You want to talk about your experience?
Yeah, the Sissy squat generally is probably like the best exercise that I forget about the most often.
Yeah, it's great.
It's such a good exercise, especially for really targeting the quads. Mm-hmm. A lot of the way we work our lower body and our legs is through these compound movements where they're not really isolating specific leg muscles. You can certainly manipulate, the angle of the squat or the hinge or whatever it is to target the quads more than the glutes or whatever. But what's great about the Sissy squat is it's in those quads almost exclusively. So if you're trying to really build your quads, this is a great exercise or want to target those. Mm-hmm. And I've only ever done a Sissy squat supported, and they are brutal. Like they are absolutely brutal.
When you say supported, you mean like just hands on the side of a weight rack, generally.
Essentially, yeah, right. cannot do them. I probably couldn't even do like the variation that he's doing here unsupported, which is essentially just like a toe squat of sorts. But what's really awesome, to answer your question about this landmine variation, is it provides some external support different from support in the way that I talked about it, which would be like holding on to the sides of a cage, and it's loadable and progressible in that way. So when I had traditionally done these supported ones, I'd get into these upper rep ranges and struggle with ways to progress it. And what's neat about this is you can load it with weight and make it more and more challenging and progressible. And it is hard. Like, I had very little weight on the barbell, and it was difficult for me.
Yeah, we were doing sets of like 3 to 6.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I'd ever tried like a loaded toe squat or sissy squat like this before. And it's great because it, like you said, that landmine provides some extra external support, which allows you to load it. It's really, really cool. So this is something I'm definitely going to be working into my programming, and clients can expect to see it down the pike soon.
Dude, this dude is doing it with 90 pounds in this video.
Oh, every goddamn Dre is insane. He is insane. And he does, this is a guy, he's the same guy. If you slide over just a couple, he's doing dips, weighted dips with 3 plates on there.
Oh my God.
And then if you go to the next one, he's doing like a Cossack squat with that kettlebell has to be like 75 pounds. He's a stud.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a really good Instagram follow. He's like definitely on the side of like that functional strength, loves kettlebells, landmine, stuff like that, but he's just strong, and he's
that body wasn't built solely on functional strength, though.
No, you should see it. He can squat like
that dude is okay,
like an MF.
Cool.
Yeah, no.
Badass, man. But yes, worth it. Viral Exercise Edition. This is a damn good one. I think it's very
good one. Very worth it. All right, let's switch over to the main course. This one is going to be fun. If you have listened to the podcast before, you know that Dylan and I were football guys. But this is not a sports podcast, unfortunately. So we don't really get to talk about sports all that often. But with the Super Bowl is going to be after this is released on Sunday, this coming Sunday. So we are going to do the Super Bowl draft, building the ultimate health and fitness playbook. What we're trying to do here is create the best Super Bowl winning health and fitness lifestyle. So how the draft is going to work, it's going to be a snake draft, which means one of us is going to go first. The next person is going to go twice. The next person is going to go twice, back and forth. Is that right? I mean, right? Should we do a snake draft with 2 people? Does that make sense?
I just always like snake drafts, but maybe we just go back and forth.
I think we just go back and forth. Well, I guess I see what you're saying, because in the rounds, we just need to alternate who goes first in each round.
Yeah,
which is like okay.
It's going to be category based, so
right. Oh yeah, exactly.
You're going to want a chance to pick your category.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Otherwise, the person who goes first is always picking the category and then picking the first thing in the category.
I just thought we were going to do the category just right down the line, and it was just going to be the ones that we have here.
You can do it that way too, but so long as the other person gets to go,
we just alternate.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. So at the end, I'm glad we talked that out. So you're going to have 6 different health and fitness, tips, guidelines, things that we like, and then the people, are going to get to decide who had the best draft. So I'm excited, Dylan. I've got a number, odd or even, underneath the desk here.
Even.
Yeah, it is even. It's 2. So you get to pick. Do you want to go first, or do you want to go second in this first category?
I'm going to go second.
You're going to go second. Okay. So draft category, round 1, we're going protein source. Oh, jeez. Now, if we were going, yeah, because there's a bunch of good ones. I see why you wanted to go second here, but I'm going to go with the granddaddy of them all, something we talk about often on the show. I'm going to go with eggs. For my protein source, that's my pick. Eggs, because breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you can always have them. So many good benefits to eggs. We love them, except for now the price. They're getting expensive again. So,
Yeah,
but I love eggs.
Bird flu, man. Yeah, I mean, their nature's multivitamin. Super high in protein. I probably wouldn't have gone there first because they're maybe not quite as protein dense as some of the other ones. But
Yeah, but you eat 6 of them though. Well, yeah, yeah, that's true.
Dude, 6 eggs?
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. You got anything else to say about your eggs?
No, I
Packed
just
full
love
of
them.
vitamins, minerals, protein. Yeah, they're a winner.
Yeah, people can go back and listen to all the positive things I've said about eggs. I just think they're versatile and they're a great.
What's your favorite way to eat
addition,
an egg?
everybody? I like breakfast sandwich over medium. Actually, no, I take that back. As much as I do love that, I love like an over easy to over medium egg on a pile of crispy hash browns, like a scrambler, or not scrambler because that'd be scrambled eggs, but just like a nice hash brown. You can have like some bacon or sausage with it too, but like good crispy hash browns with a nice over easy to over medium egg. It's the best.
My answer, I'll give you a non-breakfast related answer. I
right.
love scrambled eggs in a stir fry, like a soy-based stir fry. That is, and that's, people don't always think of that. So if you want to add a little extra protein, a little extra nutrients to your stir fry, throw some scrambled eggs in there. It's delicious.
Such an easy way. Yeah, for sure. All right. What are you going with? I want to see, are you going to take the other thing I was thinking?
Yeah, so this is tough for me because I'm back and forth between two, one of which I like the taste of and prefer eating more, the other of which I think people need to prioritize and consume more of.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to go with the latter. And I had a very specific answer. I'm going to make it broader and just say fish in general.
Okay.
Whether that's, my more specific answer would have been salmon, but I think any of the salmon and or any of the smash fish are great. Super high in gram of protein per calorie, and they're really, really high in essential omega-3 fatty acids that we're often very deficient in, and it's one of the best places we can go to get them. So if you're not a fish eater, I highly recommend looking to the variety of different ways you can consume fish to get some of it into your diet. If I'm looking for a convenient option, it's something out of a can. You can whip up a good tuna salad. You can eat it straight out of the can. You can throw some hot sauce on it. There's a million different ways you can consume that. But we've been trying to have salmon once a week as well, and that's been going pretty good. We'll do like a salmon bowl. We'll just roast some salmon with some lemon. A lot of different ways you can consume it, but fish rocks, man. It's a top of the line protein source.
Yeah, I can't argue with any of it there, except that our choices, eggs and fish, are going to look super lame on a protein graphic.
Yeah, they
are. No
are.
beef, no chicken. But like the thing is with both of those things, like everybody knows about that already. Like that, they're like chicken breast. First off, chicken breast, protein powerhouse, no doubt about it. But like as far as meats go, like it's the worst. If you're gonna do chicken, I'm gonna do chicken thighs for sure. I like skin on. That doesn't scare me. But yeah, I think people just get so obsessed with the chicken breast because of its macro contents, and you're having a subpar, not as good of not as delicious of a meat. Just enjoy it a little bit more.
The only thing I'd say on like the fattier cuts of animal proteins is that fat is typically pretty high in saturated fat. So if you're a person that's cholesterol's high or you're watching your blood pressure, that's where like the leaner cuts of beef and the chicken breasts will be of value. Although I'm with you, man, they do not taste nearly as good.
They definitely have value, and we still like. I mean, I guess chicken breast is probably something we don't have on a weekly basis, but like every few weeks, like it's just something that's in the rotation. But like to be that person that's just living on chicken breasts, rice, and broccoli, like what a boring way to live.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, next category is the go-to workout for general health. And I get to go first here.
I'm really, like I don't.
How specific do you feel like we need to be here?
I think it's just I don't think it needs to be. I think you just get like general categories.
All right, then I'm going strength training, hands down.
Yeah, that's the obvious one.
Surprise, surprise. I think strength training, whether you're trying to pursue longevity, whether you're trying to pursue weight loss, whether you're trying to pursue body recomposition, it's the king of workout for general health. And I think for a long time it maybe didn't land in that category. I think for a lot of people it was about getting strong, being buff, being a meathead. And it's really cool to see this kind of resurgence, revitalization of strength training as really the priority thing that we should be doing for our health. Not only while we're young, but especially as we age, strength training's king for me.
Yeah, that would have been my pick too. However, I really am liking, and especially this goes very much in line with my training for this year, and that is athletic training. And what I mean by that is explosive movements, generating more power. Doing, and that's going to include some cardio aspects, but I'm thinking, plyometrics, and the thing about plyometrics, where I think plyos get a bad rap, is people are always thinking about like these, like the high end, like the crazy plyometrics, where plyos need to be looked at, and this athletic type training needs to be looked at very similarly, like the same way that strength training is, where it's scalable and you're meeting people where they're at. And it doesn't need to be about, doing all these crazy jumps and burpees and all this like ridiculous stuff. But we're just trying to take some of that baseline strength and translate it into more explosive movements, which is going to help with cardiovascular health. But also I think it's super transferable to real life. We think about, the moments where people feel old, I guess, is like the thought. It's whenever they're doing stuff that they used to do when they were kids, and they're like, holy shit, like I can't do that anymore. I tried to play basketball, or I was running around with my kids, or whatever the case may be, and then they just fall out of touch with being athletic with their bodies, because you can strength train and be strong, but like what can you do with that strength?
It's hard for me to leave this category without walking being in the top two. It just feels like I should have gone there, because if we're talking for just general health, really the absolute best thing that anybody can do is just move more, and walking is the easiest way to accomplish that.
Yeah, I mean, that is the easiest for sure.
It's on the waiver wire. It's going to get picked up fast.
Oh, it'll be, and it's got insane value, no doubt. Insane value. Okay, let's move on to the recovery strategy. Now, there's some big rocks that we can go in. I'm just trying to figure out how tiny, how dialed I want to get with my recovery strategy. But I'm going to go.
Let's just say sleep is a
sleep.
Given.
Perfect. Okay, so we can get sleep off the board.
If you're not sleeping enough, none of what we're about to say matters.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. I am going to go. My go-to, right now especially, my go-to recovery strategy is mobility work. And what I mean mobility work with the foam roller, lacrosse ball, peanut, supernova, like all, using tools to stretch out my body and put it into some really like good positions after generally after workouts and on rest days. Personally, I am a huge fan of Kelly Starrett and his company, the Ready State. They've got an awesome app with all kinds of stuff. It is expensive, but there's a bunch of good information on there. So yeah, I'm going to go with mobility work, because it really does, like, that's the thing, especially if you're going to be doing more like athletic type movements, it can take a toll on your body, and you really do have to treat yourself a little bit more like an athlete. And the recovery stuff's super important.
Does that include static stretching?
Oh, that does not include. I mean, no. Static stretching, I guess, like, is something that you do in mobility work, but I would also put it as a separate category, because you don't need any tools necessarily for static stretching.
Yeah, I love the mobility category. I would have gone there. I would add the caveat, like, really targeted to specific areas of the body that need it. That's been a big thing for me this year, is kind of figuring out where those linchpins exist in my body and really targetedly doing mobility work and static stretching to work some of that out. I could go static stretching. I could go with like the sauna or cold plunge, but I'm actually going to go with, if we're talking recovery specifically for muscle building and strength training, I'm going to go with low impact training of the muscle groups that you recently trained. These have commonly been referred to as like trigger sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that these work is, let's say you do a full body workout on Monday, and you're not going to do another strength training session until Wednesday or Thursday. On one of those days in between, you're going to target the full body if you did a full body workout, but with really low intensity, very similar movement patterns to work those muscles in a way that's much more focused to two things. One, keeping that muscle building signal alive. So there's been some studies on this. I can't remember the guy who made these really popular through his research, but showing that by, especially if you're doing more split type training, where like maybe you're only going to hit the chest one day a week, that doing this low intensity exercise for the chest, I'm talking like resistance band presses or a few push-ups, will continue to send the signal to that muscle group to continue to build that muscle. And then it's just a really good way to also give those muscles a chance to recover. One of the worst things we can do for recovery is just sit around on our ass. And so by giving very low intensity movement to those areas, you're continuing to keep them active. And that's really incredibly important to giving them the ability to recover. So I'm going with the trigger session.
That is one that if you are dialed in, like, that is such an important one for making progress.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you are plateauing, or just looking to really make some serious changes in the gym in this next year, like, trigger sessions, keeping that muscle building signal is going to be like such a massive, I hate to use the word hack, but like, we're going to do it. Yeah, I love that. And I'm not on my big board, but that doesn't mean that it was wrong. I think that's good. All right.
Going for the sleeper there.
I like it. I mean, you got to. That's what we're doing here. There's only two. You only get one pick at it, so you might as well make it fun. All right, round 4.
All right, we're going game day. So Super Bowl Sunday comes around, and you're going to a party, and you want to bring something that's delicious, but is also maybe a little bit healthy. Not suggesting that's what you need to do on Super Bowl Sunday. If you want to bring that unhealthy ass dip, bring that unhealthy ass dip, enjoy the hell out of it, and get back on track.
There should be, yeah, right, exactly. Like, and there should be that. But this is if you're looking.
Yeah, if you're consistent and you're worried about getting, off track, or you're a person who one day off track leads to a cascade of bad. And also, like, a lot of these things they're not exclusively healthy. Like, they're also very delicious. So,
Yeah.
this is a difficult one for me. And actually, I'm gonna go with loaded ass nachos.
Oh yeah, that was mine.
So you're gonna take a bag of tortilla chips. You're gonna brown some ground beef, something in the interest of health, leaner ground beef, like a 93.7. Gonna give that some taco seasoning. You're gonna sprinkle that all over the top of your chips on a tray, and you can add, you name it. You could add some healthy greens once it's done. You could add some tomatoes. You can add some onions. You can add some olives. You can add some green pepper. Like, I'm gonna load these puppies up, and then maybe in the interest of health and maybe low calorie, I'm gonna use a low fat cheese, and I'm gonna sprinkle that on top. I'm gonna stick them in the oven until that cheese melts, and I'm gonna dip it in some low fat sour cream and throw some salsa and hot sauce on it. That's where I'm going.
I love that. That is actually our house. That's our go-to game day meal.
Here too.
Is and it's actually an opportunity. It's because you're going to season the meat. It's a good opportunity if you are looking for something super lean. Like, you could use like a ground turkey or ground chicken,
true.
and like you're not even going to note it. Like, I mean, literally, like you're not going to notice. But I generally, we usually go with ground beef, or like it's a good opportunity for us to use like venison or, something like obscure there. But you can use any ground meat that you want. The best part about nachos, is you just put whatever, like anything that you want. You can put healthy stuff, it's so good. Oh, and I don't, did you mention beans? Because
always beans. I forgot the beans. Always beans.
Always beans.
Yes.
What an easy way. Keep the protein high, add that fiber, like get your legumes in, like, and it's just a dish that calls for beans. So I was kind of debating between that and then like a high protein, like taco dip, where you could use like a Greek yogurt. I saw one recipe that used like Greek yogurt and cottage cheese,
dude,
as the base, and then you mix in like your salsa and all that good stuff, instead of like a sour cream. So that was like kind of what I was thinking. But to change it up, I'm gonna go with, and like one of my favorite foods on the planet is the chicken wing.
Yeah,
and and the cool thing when you do it at home. Now a lot of people got air fryers. We don't have an air fryer at our house, so when I make wings, we just bake them like on a wire racks. But you can be super conscious about how you're doing it. It can be like low oil, no oil. We do, if we're doing buffalo sauce or making sauce, we'll use some butter for that. But you can make it pretty macro friendly. Like it's something like these. I'm looking at like an air fryer chicken wing recipe right now. So with no sauce, you're looking at 50 to 60 calories a wing with 6 to 7 grams of protein, 3 to 4 grams of fat. That's not bad. Now, obviously, if you're going to start putting sauces in there, you got to be a little careful if you're going to just go nuts with your ranch or your blue cheese. But also, you've got a pretty solid base there. So have at it.
Yeah, Frank's Red Hot is pretty low calorie too. Like most buffalo sauce.
The buffalo sauce.
Cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just if you're gonna like, you do buffalo sauce, and then maybe you got like a bunch of you know how people around here, they love their ranch.
That's true. I'm a big crispy wing guy.
Yeah.
You could grill them if you're in a place where we're not and it's freezing outside, or if you're willing to withstand the cold. But I learned a trick one time where you take you can take the chicken wings. You got to get them really dry, and then you boil them in baking powder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then let them dry out again, and then you can just bake them, and they will get as crispy as if they were fried. It's amazing how well it works.
We always coat them. I always coat them in baking powder to get them crispy, but you say boil them.
Boil them,
like parboil them in baking powder, and then season
or sauce or whatever, and then stick them in the oven, and you'll get like fryer quality crisp on those puppies.
Damn. See that's why you come to this podcast, folks, for that kind of cooking knowledge right there. All right, I like it. Okay, let's move on to the next round 5. 2 more left. Our underrated fitness hack. Man, bunch of good options here, and we can talk about some of them after because obviously we're only going to get one. We're each going to only get one, but I truly believe that one of the most profound changes that people can make in their daily life is exactly what I'm doing right here. You'll see this is my couch up here. I am sitting on the floor. I think that floor sitting and shooting for, if you do zero floor sitting, start with 1 minute a day, build up to 10 minutes a day, ultimately, 20 plus minutes a day of sitting on the floor. It doesn't have to be consecutive, but just being in these positions that are not passive resting positions. We want to keep our core engaged. We have our hips stretching out. We're fidgeting around and trying new positions. And then when you're sitting on the floor, it just lends itself into these like stretching and the mobility exercises. So I think if anybody is dealing with any sort of like chronic low back pain, hip pain, like any sort of tightness, the first place to start is with just implementing some floor sitting, substituting some of that couch time for floor sitting.
That's a great one. And if you don't do it and start doing it, you're going to hate it when you start doing it.
I get plenty of texts from clients.
But you'll learn your body will adapt in a positive way such that it becomes easier. And that's a good signal that it's working. I'm going to go... I could go walking here too, but I'm going to go with chewing your food more.
That is underrated.
I think people don't give this nearly enough attention, and it is so incredibly important. It slows down your eating, gives your body time to tell you you're full. It helps you digest your food better. If you're a person who has gut problems or, you've been on that IBS roller coaster that so many people are on these days, and you're looking to all these different interventions, I've talked to some people that struggle with this, and the first thing I always tell them is just chew till it's uncomfortable and see what happens. It literally can make that kind of difference. It gives your body because you begin the digestion in your mouth. It gives your body, the rest of your body, then the ability to do what it needs to do to digest the food well, which means that a lot of that digestion will occur in the lower part of your colon, which is where a lot of that good gut bacteria lives that needs to feed on this stuff in order to thrive. So there are just countless reasons why being really intentional about it goes back to being present with your meal, of course, but I think the simplest thing you can really focus on is just trying to chew more.
Yeah, that is a good one. What do they say? You should say the alphabet twice. Go through the alphabet twice every time, like for every bite of food or every mouthful of food that you have.
Which is not. It's another one where when you first start doing it, it's uncomfortable.
What
it's
the hell?
God Almighty.
Yeah.
But man, we are so rushed in life in general, and when we're rushed when we're eating, it impacts the way that we respond to our food. So this is a good way to slow that down and has multiple benefits.
Yeah, and I mean, I think mainly just from how you feel after.
Totally.
You can you can feel it so easily if you rush through a meal versus actually enjoying it. That's why those ones, where you're sitting down having a conversation with people, just enjoying your food, enjoying your company, why those are always the best meals.
Yep.
Okay. The last category is the wild card round. So we get to pick anything that we want that contributes to overall health and wellness. Dylan, it's your pick to lead off the final round.
Yep. I'm going to go with intentionally and aggressively investing in your relationships. And I'm talking not only the ones that are obvious, like your partner and your parents and your siblings and your kids, but I think it's incredibly important that you also, especially as you get into the age where you have kids, that you're nurturing relationships with like-minded people, with people that have similar goals, with people that you love and care about outside maybe like that central family unit. And there's so much data coming out around loneliness and community and the importance of these relationships. The most prominent of which was this Harvard study. It started in 1938. It's a 75-year study that they've recently published results on. And they gathered 724 people from all around the world and asked detailed questions about their lives at 2-year intervals over a 75-year period of time. And the study found that the number one most important thing that makes us happy in life and ultimately actually leads to us living longer is our relationships, the quality of our relationships. So we talk a lot on this podcast about other things, right? Fitness, nutrition, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not those things. It's not exercise. It's not healthy diet. It's not career achievement. It's not money. The most consistent finding through this study, 85 years actually, not 75, 85 years, was that positive relationships keep us happier, healthier, and help us live longer.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a good pick. I love that. Now, mine is a little different. My pick is going to be opt for outside. We live in this world where this temperature controlled world where you can go weeks without spending, especially in the wintertime, without spending more than a minute or two outside for weeks, months even. And some people will even, maintain that through the summertime when the weather's actually nice outside. But there are so many benefits, even when the weather's not great, to getting outside. And I mean this with exercise. When you have the opportunity, exercise outside. When you have the opportunity to eat outside. Be outside as much as you possibly can, because there are just an insane amount of benefits. I mean, one, we think about the mental well-being, just the reduced stress that comes from, relaxing our gaze, being outside, being in nature, moving our bodies in that way. Mood, energy levels, vitamin D, all of these things, but really, also from a thinking about this from an exercise perspective, when you are doing these things outside, there's research to suggest that you are more likely to enjoy and adhere to those training modalities versus the ones that are inside. So if you're having trouble making fitness a long-term habit, one way that you can try it is find an activity that you like to do outside, and you are significantly more likely to stick to it.
Yeah, man, it's such a good one. There's a lot of research on this too, on like nature bathing, forest bathing, getting outside like into real natural environments as well. So I really, really like that one. And it can be hard in the winter in Wisconsin. So for anybody that's in a similar situation to us, like you're obviously not going to eat outside when it's 10 degrees Fahrenheit, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't prioritize other ways to get outside, to go for a walk, to go for a hike, whatever it is. And there's something about doing it when it's uncomfortable that's also incredibly valuable. There's a lot of research coming out around dopamine and how it works in our brains. And what's really interesting about dopamine is it works on an equilibrium. So dopamine is this like pleasure neuron that releases in our brain and makes us feel really good. But our brain wants to return to equilibrium. So the reason that we often crash after these rushes of dopamine is our body's natural biological response to that surge of happy. And so it's becoming really an epidemic as we sit around scrolling on our phones, getting these dopamine bombs all day. And then at the end of the day, we feel like shit and we wonder why. The reason is because it's a biological thing that's occurring in our brain. But what's interesting about that pendulum, that equilibrium, is it works both ways, they're finding. So that's likely why things like cold plunge feel so good after you do them, because they're intentionally uncomfortable. And so you'll do these things that are uncomfortable, or, you'll work on something really focused, really hard that sucks. And then when you're done with it, you feel really good. It's actually a release of dopamine that's occurring to bring that brain back into equilibrium. And so this can work really well with like, I'm a wuss in the cold in the winter, and I have to fight myself to go do it. But man, if I go for a 30-minute walk on a 10-degree day and I'm a little bit cold, I feel really good after I did it. And so start thinking about those scenarios where you can perhaps make yourself a little bit uncomfortable in the interest of health, and it'll have benefits that you talked about getting outside, but also should work in the favor of that dopamine balance that I'm talking about as well. So we'll do more on that. I think it's a really interesting topic I'm learning more about, but very relevant to your wild card pick here.
Yeah. All right. So that's the draft, and the people will have to let us know who they think had a better one. But I think one thing that we can say is that the listeners were the winners of that draft for sure, because we just gave them a ton of good stuff there.
I'm really mad I went with salmon. Damn it.
If you could have it back, what would you have gone with?
Beef, man.
Steak?
Beef, yeah. Like a lean cut of steak, just because of the nature. But yeah, like the glutton in me would have gone with a ribeye, but the health guy would have said like a fillet. Yeah, fillet.
Okay. All right. So who you got on Sunday?
Should we put a little wager on it?
I'm down.
What could we wager that would be interesting to the listener?
Some sort of workout challenge, I would assume.
Yeah, all right.
And what Super Bowl is it? 59? Yeah, it's 59. So you got to do like 59 something.
Yeah, how about 59 consecutive push-ups?
What happens if you can't do it?
Then by the end of the year.
you have to try it every day until you can. Well, fortunately, I think I can do 59. So I'm down.
I don't think I can.
All right. So the loser has to do push-ups every other day, because we don't want to overload it here. So you got to do every other day.
They got to try it, and if they can't get there, they got to train to get there by.
You think, but every day?
No, well, whatever it would take to train, we'll figure that. I'll figure out how to program it in a way that I can get there.
Oh, you're just saying that you just got to do it. You got to get to the point.
Push-ups. It's got to go on the Basic Trainer Instagram, and it's got to be done in the next 50 episodes.
I like it. Okay, yeah, I'll do it. Okay. So now, with that said, how do we decide who picks what? And is it just straight up?
Yeah, I don't know. It's I think we go. Do we go on the spread? It's tough,
who knows what the line will be at that point? I think we just got to go straight up.
Straight up, and it's tough because it's the Chiefs and the refs against the Eagles, dude.
Oh, whatever, man. I think personally, I think you'd be insane to pick against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
I want the Chiefs.
That's fine.
I'll
Chiefs, take the Eagles.
You think you can do 59 push-ups right now, so
it'll be close. It'll be close.
Chiefs, I got Chiefs. You got Eagles. Loser.
All right, you got Chiefs. Loser has to do 59 push-ups. All right, you got it. Do we have a question and answer for the people today?
I didn't get one this week.
That's fine.
You don't have anything?
Well, my question was, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
That's the Q&A then.
All right, there it is. You want to pick Super Bowl MVP then? If you get the Chiefs, is it Kelsey or is it Mahomes?
It's Mahomes.
All right, well, then I got to hope for Saquon.
I like it.
That's all right. Perfect. All right, Dylan. It is time for the I Lift a Sad Song of the Week, and we get these people out of here. It's your sad song, and it is sad song 1 of season 2.
It is.
So what are we going with?
And I'm going to, you've inspired me, and I'm going to kick season 2 off with a song that we concluded, or with an artist that we concluded season 1 with, because while I enjoy your Noah Gunderson pick, this is the I Lift to Sad Songs Noah Gunderson song. That
I had a
needs to
couple.
needs to be on a playlist. So
All right, let's hear it.
we are going with number one hit of the summer, Fade In, Fade Out, off of the 2017 album White Noise.
White Noise. You love White Noise. All right. Okay, everybody. That's a great pick, Dylan. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you next time.